I hear another impala alarming behind us. And I wonder if they're just alarming because these ones are alarming next to us. Yeah, the guinea fowl's alarm calling. Here she comes. Tail up, being spotted, guinea fowls, impalas, everything's making a noise. And she's coming onto Djuma. Isn't this exciting? And I said we hadn't seen leopard in a while. We've been waiting for leopard. So, very exciting. The last leopard I saw was Karula. And the next leopard I've seen is Karula. I know VM is very happy. And I know lots of you are also going to be absolutely ecstatic. Look, is she coming to use the new road? Wouldn't that be nice? A nice new road for you to walk on, Karula. And she is indeed using the new road. Well, the new old road. William, can I go back or do I? Oh, no, let me just go forward. So let Ephraim go so we don't lose it. While we do that, let's go back to Jamie and the ground hornbill. Sorry, I'm just trying to watch where I can reverse.
Jamie and 2 ground hornbills, not just the one. The female was walking in front of her male companion and he's just popped out as well, digging through some buffalo dung in order to get hold of the termites that had infested it. He's going to pop out. I don't really want to reposition because he's going to pop out on the other side of the termite mound in a moment. Where's the female? The female's over there, I think slightly out of Gendre's view. She's about to cross the fire break. Where's this male gone? He's obviously found something. Got him. Here we go. Aha! There, back into the dung again. Sifting through. Looking, I know what it's looking for. Dung beetle larvae. Must be. How amazing is this? That's a really nice idea of the foraging technique of the ground hornbill. This is incredible. If it is catching dung beetles, it's seriously massacring them. It might be termites as well that it's after, but that dung's a little bit fresh to have already acquired a host of termites. It must be dung beetles. Sifting through, digging in the dung. This is amazing. And we know that it is a male because he has quite a sort of a large, that red patch under their chin, much larger and more bulging, and there's no patch of blue underneath the bill that the female has. So we've stumbled upon a breeding pair. Perhaps still a little bit early. They should be laying their eggs in November or so, and then again in March, although it can be any time from about the end of October to around April. And one of the projects that I used to work with was the Mabula Ground Hornbill project, because they lay 2 eggs, but only 1 chick will ever survive. The second egg is just an insurance policy. And what we used to do is try and find the nest sites and try and get to them when the first egg had hatched but the second egg hadn't. Because of course you don't know which one's going to hatch first. And then we'd call the Mabula Ground Hornbill project in, and if they had space for that particular year's intake, they would take the second egg away and incubate it and hand raise the chick. and then release it into the wild. And they could hand raise it in a way like they do with cranes and other rare species of bird, with hand puppets, rather than exposing the birds to people. One of the big problems, not problems in the Kruger National Park, but one of the big, or the interesting things that you can see if you go to the Kruger Park and you happen to encounter ground hornbills, much like their cousins, they're lovely birds, but I'm not 100% sure that they're very bright. So what that means is that they will very frequently attack their reflection, thinking that it is another bird. I suppose it's not fair, since mirrors didn't exist. Well, no, reflections existed in the bush before human beings came with reflective surfaces in water. However, you'll find yellow-billed hornbills and red-billed hornbills will spend their day in the DRC hammering any side windows or car windows or anything that they can find that has their reflection in it. Ground hornbills are no different. They often go up and attack private vehicles. Now, they are massive birds, but William in Oregon, yes, they can fly, absolutely. They can and they do fly, and it doesn't have to be over short distances. So although they look bulky, the takeoff is a little bit shaky, and sometimes the landing, although I think their landings are quite graceful compared to that of vultures. So they do fly, and it can be over long distances. But generally, though, they are ground-dwelling birds, and they spend most of their time on the ground. So obviously, this is the way that they go about foraging for their breakfasts. And thank goodness you came across to us when you did, because they've stopped calling now. The best time of the day to hear a ground hornbill calling is usually before sunrise, which means that we got very, very lucky in hearing that little chorus between the two of them. Same motion each and every time, grabbed with the tip of the beak and then launched backwards into the throat. This has turned out to be a fantastic find, this particular pile of dung for this ground hornbill. So much so he's completely lost track of his mate. She's vanished off. Trying to work out what the white dots are on the top of his beak. I'm also double checking, which we always do whenever we see ground hornbills, to see whether or not they have tags on their wings or tags around their legs. And we encourage you, if any of you ever do go on safari, particularly to the Kruger National Park, if you see a ground hornbill and you see a tag, take note of the color of the tag. If you can, take note of the numbering, but it's not a disaster if you can't. And the position of the tag, left foot, left wing, right wing. Report that information at the end of your stay, and where you saw the birds and what they were doing, how many there were, and so on and so forth. And that sort of research really does help the projects that are critically involved in the conservation of these birds. And we always, because we do work with Panthera, we always record sightings of ground hornbills. We put it all into a database that then becomes part of a much larger database, along with any sightings of leopards, lions, wild dogs, and cheetah. Those are the animals that go onto the Panthera list. How it bulges out at the side. That resonating chamber looks so strange. I wonder what it feels like. I've never been lucky enough or fortunate enough to be right up close with a ground hornbill. Perhaps fortunate enough. I imagine that beak could do some serious damage if it wanted to. I wonder what it must feel, sort of leathery, I suppose. Ha, done for the day with that pile of dispatch griffin. I always get excited when I see ground hornbills. You wanted to know how many of them are left. It's difficult to say exactly. We don't have exact numbers, but you're looking at about 1,400. The population might have increased from the last time that a large census was done. Either way, the answer is not very many at all. And the main reason behind that is habitat loss, although people have somehow found a way of blaming overpopulation of elephants in South Africa for the loss of nesting sites by pushing over big trees, which I really find to be an absurd argument. I don't quite buy that. Really, of all the things that elephants do, yes, they certainly convert forest into wood, into grassland if there's too many of them, but it really takes a massive number and an unlucky ground hornbill for that to be the case. And preferred food, anything, mainly insects. I mean, when you watch them foraging through here, you can see just by watching that brief moment with them digging through the dung, most likely things like termites and dung beetle grubs, or even dung beetles themselves. That being said, they can also catch and kill snakes. They've got quite a long beak, so they grab the snake by the middle of the body or by the head, trying not to risk injury, obviously, and give it a very vigorous shake to ensure that it doesn't bite them. So they can catch snakes as well. Frogs would probably be in there somewhere, and maybe even ground nesting birds and birds' eggs. Things like lapwing chicks, perhaps those adorable bronze-winged plover chicks that we saw earlier. In fact, exactly where we are now. I'm hoping that our little bronze-winged bobblehead chicks are safe. Right, let's head back to Brent since our hornbills have vanished. He's still got Karula.
There we go, you can see the queen looking a little hungry, and she's quite highly mobile, deeper into Djuma, which is incredibly exciting for us. Hopefully she manages to make a kill and bring the cubs back with her. I love that little tail twitch while they hunt, sort of concentration. Look how alert she is, listening to every little thing around her. Never fear, we will stick with her. Isn't this exciting? Queen Karula back on Djuma. And a bit of a surprise, because we thought we were waiting for Tundi. But as soon as I had a glimpse of her, I thought, hang on now, that doesn't look like her daughter. That looks like the mother. She might climb up the termite mound. Let's get into the spot. You know, using the termite mound as cover. So she doesn't want to break the outline of the mound. So she just keeps her head just below. Sorry about all the bumpety, but we need to get round. How's that for you, Liam? There she is, the Queen of Djuma, Karula, on the hunt on this Sunday morning, exuding pure majesty. Oh, there's a marula tree that needs to be scent marked. Remind all the other leopards around here that this is her territory. Oh, and she's going to walk past the front of Aubrey's car. Isn't this exciting? I'm so happy. We're back with the Queen, and there she pops up. Heading towards Leadwood Road, and here you guys are getting some fantastic screenshots. Great to hear. Remember to share them with us. Hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, or pop them on our Facebook page. Okay, let's negotiate through the monkey orange thickets. Watch out there, Viam, you okay? Now, she's heading towards that river system we found her quite a few times in, that runs between Leadwood Road and Mumba Road. And we will try our best to stick with her, but it is a challenging area. There we go, using the next termite mound. Look at that flicking tail. I really love that with leopards. It's almost like they've got a song in their head and no one else knows. A leopard equivalent of tapping their feet. What song do you think she's listening to, Vim?
I don't know.
I think Flight of the Falkries.
Oh.
Or Airwolf, whilst he's on the hunt. Da, 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 da. You can see how she just melts into the bush. Now, fortunately, this area she's going to, I know a few little secret spots to get through some of the more difficult areas in that river system. Goes Queen Karula. As you can see, there's that indentation just in front of her back legs, showing that she is quite hungry, so definitely on the hunt. What's that? That is a dugger boy. So hello to Lieben, who's a new viewer, who's wondering why this leopard doesn't see us as danger or prey, all the tourists on the vehicles. Well, vehicles have only been around for about 100 years, so there's no actual instinctive response to the vehicles. And if we drive carefully and considerately around, they take absolutely no notice of us. If you had to stand up and show the upright figure of man, which has been the dominant diurnal predator for the last few 100,000 years, she will either run away or become aggressive. And as long as you stay seated, she doesn't actually see that bipedal figure, the dominant diurnal predator. And I'm just trying to see where she's going to go. So there's some buffalo through there, or there, or there. Oh, behind there. Yes. So she might try to avoid them, so she might head towards us. There she goes. No, she's seen the buffalo. I don't think she's going to try to stalk them. How's that for him? Yes, remember she had a kill in the drainage line here, the Tingana, and both the cubs. That's right. And Tingana stole that kill from her. And also we saw young Hosana with a scrub hair. Now whether that was his first kill ever, we shall never know. We'd like to think so, though. Ooh, sounds like there's some elephants around as well. I can hear some branches breaking. I said she's about to go into this very tricky area, which is a myriad of little river systems. So she's looking beyond the buffalo, and I think she's going to go become tricky now. Oh look, she's going past the first jasmine of the season. Look, there's wild jasmine. She's dropping right into this little ravine, and now it's time. Oh, looks like she's going to go out the other side to do some serious off-roading. So quickly across to Jamie.
Brent goes on a serious off-roading mission. It seems as though today is an elephant-themed morning for myself and Jandre, and we are definitely not complaining. And while this female is using her feet to dig deep down into the soil, she's very focused. Her little one, who looks suspiciously... No, it can't be. That's not Benjamin's mom. I thought for a second that might be Benjamin Button, but that's not what his mom looks like, is it? His mom is young, but she doesn't have such large tusks. Perhaps it's another baby elephant with a very wrinkly forehead. It's definitely a young elephant. I'm just waiting because I don't want to separate her from the rest of the herd. No, that's definitely not Benjamin's mom. That massive right tusk. She's got huge tusks for such a small young female. Very, very long. And she's succeeded in uprooting, or at least getting to the roots of whatever she's after. Oh, but she still wants to dig deeper. You can see she's actually dug a massive hole. It's right down to her wrist joint when she puts her foot in it, using her trunk and her feet in conjunction to get to whatever it is she's after. There we go. Got it? Nope, still not yet. Even though there is a lot in the way of new food for elephants, the grasses aren't quite long enough yet for them to really focus on it. And they're still digging deep down to get things like bulbs and the deeper root systems of the trees. And of course, when they get to the roots, it's got the added advantage of a nice sort of water supply as well. Oh, good morning, Ephraim. Sorry, we turn that down. Still struggling. There's actually lots. This is a massive herd. There's elephants everywhere, but this is the best view that we have for now. Now, Marilee, looking at our elephant, we of course have had buffalo this morning and wildebeest, and even our attempted search for the lions, all of which have ticks, and we have seen the ticks sitting on them. Yes, elephants do get ticks. It's actually a very specific species of tick. It's massive and whitish in color. So there's a couple of different species, and they tend to be the larger ticks because obviously they have to have large mouth parts to attach themselves to the elephants. It's not so much that the oxpeckers can't reach those spots, because they'll be attracted to the sort of normal places in the armpits of the elephant and around the groin area and underneath the tail, the more sensitive patches of skin. It's not that the oxpeckers couldn't reach there, it's that elephants just don't let them. They obviously hate the feeling of oxpeckers sitting on their skin. If you watch, I've seen it a few times. In fact, I think I might have even seen it on a live drive before, where an oxpecker has made the mistake of attempting to sit on an elephant, only to be faced with the dire threat of being whacked with the elephant's trunk if it overstays its welcome. So it's not that the oxpeckers can't target the elephants, it's just that the Ellies really, really don't like it. I don't know what it is, if they find their skin is particularly sensitive, or perhaps they associate oxpeckers with painful tick removing, I'm not sure. Either way, they really don't like it. I'm going to try and reposition. I still want to see if she manages to get what she's after. I also want to get a view of this adorable baby that she's got with her. Hold on. Before I do, let's just see. She's managed to get a big root up. It's my favorite. Oh, little one. Watching them imitate mom and have a look at what she's after. Now, this baby is not much older than about 6 months of age, so it's only just started really feeding on solid food, and still, still relying largely on mom's milk. Oh, baby elephants are just too precious. Look at the little thing learning to use its trunk. Very tiny little elephant calf. Oh, she is dedicated to this mission. There, she's got the root up. She just can't quite break it off. A very clear example here that she uses her left tusk more than her right. Just like most elephants, she has a preference. You can see the left tusk is shorter and blunter than the right. But it's also a nice example of the fact that isn't always the case. Oh, did you get a little bit of mom's leftovers, baby? Because there, to get that root system, she used both the left and the right tusk. What a peaceful scene. I'm going to stay here for a little bit and watch this baby elephant, but Brent has got another view of Karula. Let's head across there.
There's that gorgeous tail. Now she's taking us on quite the ride. We're in the bottom of that little river system already. Looks like she's just listening and waiting. If she's heard anything in particular, or she's just using her ears to scan ahead. You can hear some elephants relatively close by. Cat in Tampa is wondering whether leopards are the only female cat that marks territory. Well, cats are female lions, female domestic cats, wild cats, all the females in the cat family will mark territory. Your solitary cat species seem to mark a little bit more, so I'm just trying to see where she's going. I'm just going to have a quick look through the corner here. There she is. So now it's a bit of guesswork as to where she's going to go next. So she can crisscross the drainage line at will. We can't. We can only crisscross at certain spots. Okay, while we try to keep up with her, let's go see how Jamie's doing with those elephants.
For no clear and apparent reason, our elephants all of a sudden got up and ran away. I have absolutely no idea what that was all about. They've run onto Buffelshoek Hook into some very dense vegetation, which I'm quite sad about. I was really hoping for another view of that elephant cow and her calf. There you can see where she was digging. At the very least, you can see she is completely dug up the root system of... I wonder why she was after the root system of a cluster leaf. I think it must have been. Interesting. Obviously something highly nutritious. Lots of effort went into that. And then, there you go. If you ever see a dug up patch of ground like that, you'll immediately be able to picture the elephant that was doing it. The herd have gone. They raced across there at high speed, tails out, indignant, and I have absolutely no idea why. I think most likely, having seen elephants do this before, could be lions, could be an elephant bull, could also be the fact that an impala ran at them strangely and they all panicked and ran away, which we have seen before. We've seen an entire elephant herd of about 40 elephants go poof into the distance. It was hilarious. And one very confused impala going, why are we running? And then obviously running after the elephants, and the elephants getting more scared of the impala. It's hilarious. They're wonderful animals, but they still have that very, very powerful herd instinct. Luckily for us, there's... never mind. Still one on the road. Not anymore. Now, one thing I did notice yesterday when Jandra and myself were driving home after our unsuccessful leopard search was I could smell a bull in must. So there's definitely at least one bull in must hanging around somewhere on Djuma. We never saw him. We saw the rest of the Ellies, but we never saw him. Could be him. I doubt it though. I really honestly think it was an impala that looked at them strangely. Panicked. And now, just like that, everybody's gone. Let's try for one more view of these Ellies that were here. Aha! Hello, you. Oh, goodness. Hello, you. I'm sorry. I didn't see you there. Gosh. For very big animals, they do disappear very, very easily. I mean, it's a large bull. Well, it's a young bull. It's still a large animal. And yet almost completely obscured by this bush willow. Hello. Sorry, boy. Okay. Amazing. We're probably, I would say, 20 meters from that elephant. We couldn't see him at all. Here's the second bull. Obviously, the young bulls on the outskirts of the herd. They don't seem to be affected by the panic that struck the rest of them. In fact, they seem quite content. Isn't it nice to look at elephants through green vegetation, as opposed to before when everything looked dead and almost Martian as a landscape? So nice to have spring back again. Okay, let me think about this. Let's try rolling backwards a little bit and see if we can't see this Ellie bull. Okay, well, since our Ellie is quite obscured, let's go back across to Brent, who seems to have caught up with the Queen.
We just heard an elephant trumpet in the distance there, but we're still with the Queen right in the middle of the thickets. I'm doing our best to stay with her. Oh, look at that lovely golden light coming onto her back. Sorry about the zip, it's getting a bit warm. Oh, she spotted something. See how she's ducking back towards us? It looks like she spotted something there. She's jogging. So she's hunting. There's something up ahead that's caught her attention. Okay, I wonder what she spotted. I'm just going to go forward a little bit to where she was sitting when she spotted it. Getting out of here could be quite difficult. You see what she spotted? It looks like something through there underneath that big Tumbueti tree. What's... somewhere in there, I can't... Can you see her still, Vim? Huh? See the spots. Where's my binoculars? I'm trying to see what she might have seen. I mean, just look at that camouflage. She's highly alert. Now, this is a good area for an impala, for a nyala. Oh, she's on the move again. Okay, we're going to try to keep up with her. But it's going to take some maneuvering from where we are at the moment. So while we try to get out of the bottom of this river, let's go back to Jamie and those Ellies.
We wish Brent the very best of luck as he struggles his way out of a tricky patch. Well, so far our morning's been pretty easy. We've just been sitting enjoying the company of this young elephant bull, who is a one-tusked wonder. He only has his right tusk, there's no left tusk. Probably broke it off. It's possible he was born without one. Or perhaps it just never managed to erupt. But most likely he broke it off at some point. It probably had some kind of fault or a crack or something similar. Now that will never change. That will never grow back. When there's damage to the tusk at that kind of level, and there is no chance of it returning. If an elephant breaks its tusk towards the tip, then yes, the tusks grow throughout their lives. It's when they damage the root system and the nervous system around that it never returns. Can't even see the bulge where the tusk would normally come out. It does make me wonder if perhaps this Ellie was born without one. He doesn't seem terribly concerned, and it absolutely really won't hamper his life very much. And tusks are generally used by the elephants for digging and for breaking off branches, so he's got his right tusk for that. The only time it may disadvantage him a little bit is if he happened to come into conflict with another male elephant. Obviously, he can't block an elephant with two tusks. That being said, it's also about size and attitude in an elephant fight. Now, he's still too young to really be able to compete with the big boys, but he'll get there. Another decade and a half, and he'll be ready to start competing. Now, though, breakfast is the predominant consideration. It's such a peaceful way to spend a morning. Since our lions decided to disappear into the thickest possible spot, and the trickiest possible spot, I'm enjoying a morning spent with elephants. It's been a while since I've had time to actually sit with them for this long. Ah, you heard me say that. Don't disappear, boy. Oh, that's beautiful. And it still astounds me that we are able to bring you these images as they happen from the low veld of South Africa and beam it all the way across the world. Truly special. Tucking into the next tree. Of course, elephants will, like all of our browsers, move from tree to tree relatively regularly. That's because the trees are releasing a bitter substance known as tannins, used, of course, in the tanning industry, tanning leather and so on. Produce tannins. As soon as they start to be fed upon, the plant produces it and pumps the leaves full of it, which makes them very bitter and unpleasant tasting. Not only that, the trees will actually communicate with other trees, so the tannins will travel through the air to the surrounding trees, and as soon as they pick up on that, and I mean how they do it is mind-boggling, because they don't of course have sensors in the same way that we have sensors, but somehow they do, and they start to release tannins as well, which is why most of the browsers will start feeding into the wind. That being said, some trees are faster off the mark than others. I've seen elephants stand and feed at a fallen marula for easily an hour at a time. I think the bigger the tree, the slower the production, or the slower the tannins will be in terms of reaching it. Bye-bye, boy. Into Buffelshoek he goes. Slowly but surely disappearing. Suppose it's time for me to move on. I'm going to go check out Buffelshoek Dam, see what's happening there. Let's head back to Brent, who has managed to stay with the Queen.
Well, she is taking us on a serious adventure this morning, in and out of this little river system. But whatever she was attracted to has moved off, because she stopped again. I'll just, there we go. Standing by. We're just on the edge. She's stationary now on the southern side, but she is looking northeast. Yeah, copy. We're probably halfway between there, so I'll listen out for your vehicle, Andrew. Yeah, there's visual now, but if she gets moving, then she's going into those really bad spots at the top end of that donga. Okay, so it looks like she's listening for something to the northeast of us. Start stalking, we stop driving behind her or in front of her or anywhere that might impede her vision or give another animal the possibility of spotting her because they've heard us. So we try to keep to the sides of her and give her as much space as possible when she is stalking. Now again, that all depends on each individual scenario, depending on the thickness of the bush, the drainage lines, all sorts of things. So there's no fixed rule. You must just use your discretion and common sense as not to affect the animal. And listening intently. Hey, Queen Karula. Nice to see you again. It's been a while. Her ears. Watch her ears now. How they move. And sometimes independently of each other, she's scanning the bush for all sounds. Can you hear it? puff back shrike calling. Okay, she's going north again. And she's mobile northeast again. I'm going to try stay with her. She's in the donga now. Okay, I'm going to try stick with her. Just watch. Sorry guys. FM Andrew, I think I'm just where they join. Just stand by one. Okay. She's heading to the east now. And we're going to try stick with her, but this area is a perfect spot for a leopard to hunt through, but not so perfect for a Land Rover to move through. But while we do that, let's go back to Jamie before I get stuck. Or am I already stuck?
The zebra giving us an amazing demonstration of just how well their stripes work to break up their outline, even at a relatively close distance. You can see how difficult it becomes to see them. This is an absolutely massive herd. I think it's the same herd that we often see around Tambuti Dam that has a very pregnant female somewhere in it, or presumably had a very pregnant female. There's two little foals, but neither of them look small enough to be recent births. And the whole herd spreads right back into Buffelshoek itself. There must be about 20 or so zebra here, believe it or not. They're just making our lives a little bit tricky because they're all incredibly hidden in some very dense vegetation. Let me try rolling forward. Perhaps that might help in terms of seeing the rest of them. You got him. Whoop! Oh, overshot the mark. That'll do. Okay, we'll go with that. You can see the little foal on the left. Still tiny, stripes still close together. Oh. Bye-bye then. With its tiny fluffy tail. And the rest of the herd moving off. Happily munching away on the grass. And they'll definitely, as bulk grazers, they will definitely have been grateful for the rain. We need some more now. We need a constant, sustained rainfall, rather than these odd downpours and then nothing else for days and weeks at a time. That was the pattern last year, and I'm hoping that this year is not going to repeat it. Oh, beautiful. Definitely one of the most photogenic creatures out here. Always lovely when photographed in black and white. Cecilia says, the jailbirds of the jungle. Our stripy zebra, wearing their prison uniforms. Well, they certainly have a reputation of being somewhat angry at times. There's always a little bit of infighting with zebra, and perhaps not a bad description at all. Horses in pajamas is another one of my favourites. Let's think how many euphemisms we can think of for zebra. And at the same time, since Brent's been playing the music game, what song they would be listening to. The Stripes. The White Stripes. Definitely. No doubt in my mind. What do you think zebra would listen to? We've got euphemisms, we've got stripy horses, horses in pajamas, donkeys with identity crises, jailbirds of the jungle, a tiger horse. That's great. Tiger horse. I love it. I'm going to use that one. Thanks, David in Napa. I'm going to steal that and use it in the future. I find it highly amusing. Tiger horses. Chandra, can you think of any others? I'm out. I'm out of ideas. I still think they'd listen to the Stripes, though. What else can we think of? Oh dear. I'm afraid to say our time with the zebra might be coming to an end as they disappear, because I'm going to have to move. Well, actually, this gentleman could probably squeeze past me. Let's see how we go. Yep, he's managed. Morning, how are you? Good, thanks. Just looking at the zebra. Yeah, cheers. You too. You're driving my dream car, mister. Right, let's head across since our zebra have vanished. Let's head across and see what the queen is doing and if she's had any hunting success.
We're still with her, and she's slowly moving east. I'm just going to ask, Andrew's waiting up ahead. I'm going to see if there's any impala or anything there. Andrew, are there any impala or anything around you there? Our patience is king, and the big cats have plenty of that. Unfortunately, so do I, and Vim. Our temperature's heating up very quickly at the moment. Andrew? Are there any impala or anything around you there? Alright, copy. So I'm directly west of you now. Okay, so there we go. Andrew's just said there's some impala, but a bit further to the east. But there are also some inyala where he is. So he's probably about 100 meters away from us now. Now, Karula is one of those leopards who tends to hunt quite a lot during the day. And she also moves a lot during the day. In an area like this where leopards are not really under pressure from people, you'll find that they do move around during the day quite a bit. In areas where they are under pressure from people, they tend to be almost exclusively nocturnal. This is sort of ideal hunting territory for a leopard. There's lots of cover, lots of little thickets. There we go, she's on the move again. Andrew, she's moving northeast in front of your mower now. Okay, she's going into the tricky thickets again. I'm going to try and keep up with it. Watch out there, VM. Deeper than I thought. Let's change the angle. Okay, a little bit more open here, but she's sticking to the thickets to the left of us. You see us still, Vim? Yeah? Negative. Have a look and pop through into the little clearing here. Okay, well, there she is. But she is heading into. Oh, she disappeared behind that dead tree. This is really thick, difficult country here, and I don't want to put pressure on her while she's hunting. So I'm gonna maybe move around and try guess where she's going to come out of. As you can just see her melting into the bush there. While we do that, let's go back to Jamie and see what she's up to.
Well, I've been listening to the updates on the Game Drive channel with great interest to the movements of Queen Karula, and hopefully Brent manages to catch up with her once again. In the meantime, we're kind of just trundling. Given up on the lions. I know where they are, roughly where they are, but to try and find them after I accidentally scared them this morning getting off the vehicle is going to be tricky. We'll have to try again on the sunset safari. That being said, I'll probably make my way into that area for the last few moments just to see whether or not they haven't decided to pop out. They might have tried to reunite with the two lionesses that were feeding on Gauri Cutline. Ah. Roadblock. Lots and lots of roadblocks at the moment. Okay, I don't really want to drive over this wisteria in front of me. I'm going to try and nick it, but not damage it in any way. This is not a tree we see lots of. They're very pretty trees. And they're quite sensitive. I don't mean feelings-wise, I mean... Oh. Yeah, well, that'll teach you to be so lazy and not put the vehicle in no range, Jamie. Still not going to, though. It's because I insulted it. I didn't actively insult Jigger, I just said that my dream car was something different. Didn't actively insult her. There we go. Tree wisteria survived. As did we. But I'll apologize to Jigger just for good measure. I'm sorry, Jigger, you are lovely. I'm sorry I put a big dent in the bottom of you yesterday. I'm just saying, if you'd been my dream car, you probably wouldn't be dented. Just putting it out there. Skating a thin line, Adler. Skating a very thin line. I know that Jigger is a much beloved character. And was Graham's personal vehicle at one point. So I'd better be careful what I say. Might find myself in trouble. Or, you know, Jigger might just decide to break down. But to be fair, he'd probably do that anyway. At some point. Right, let's go and look for these lions, I guess. The last few moments. The one noticeable thing about the change in vegetation is that there's it's not that there's less general game, it's that it's much harder to see it. The antelope species, this pan's dry already. Surprised by that. This was my very first sighting of the Nkuhumas when I first started working at Safari Live, and they'd killed a buffalo. And Steph very kindly, wait, who was it? Was it Steph, James, or Brent? I can't remember now. Very kindly said to me, you can go to the lion kill for your first drive. So much has changed since then. Junior was sitting with a very round belly off in the shade. Gemini Cat asking the same question that we've actually had from a few viewers recently, and I know you're all excited. We haven't had any snake sightings yet, but yes, they will definitely begin soon. There are snake tracks regularly on the road. We've seen 1 or 2 around our camps, so they are out and about. It's just a matter of time before, and we're trying to find one. And of course, bushwalk is probably the best way to view a snake, but you never know. One day we'll come around the corner, just as we did in the last wet season, and have a massive black mamba in the road, or perhaps a cobra or something similar. So I haven't had any snake sightings yet, but they will come. They will definitely come. Our reptiles, for the most part, have been in estivation, which is like hibernation, just for dry rather than for temperature. So for a lack of rain. Just double check something. It's just a combination of different tracks on top of each other. So we haven't had any chameleon sightings either, which is something that I would love to see. And we can trundle along. We'd have to trundle very, very slowly to try and spot a snake, or get very lucky. The same goes for chameleons. I'm hoping that this chameleon year will be better than the last one. Maybe we'll have a bit more rain and there'll be a bit more of them around. Well done, Brent. He has managed to keep up with the Queen. And while we head to the lions, let's head back across to your royal appointment.
So she hasn't seen anything yet. She's just moving through the bush, stopping, listening, looking. Now, unfortunately, if she moves west from here, I think not even Liam and I are going to be able to keep up with her. There's a massive drop off just next to us. And goes down here about 4 or 5 meters. And if she decides to go that way, but I'm hoping she goes the same way we came in, the elephant path that goes behind us. Now, one of the reasons we're able to follow these leopards through some of these very difficult areas is that I've walked all around here, so I know where all the little secret spots are. Hello, Karuls. Good girl, take the elephant path. Great minds think alike, Karula. Look how close she is to VM. And she is heading along the elephant path that we came in on. Now, of course, she's still right on the edge of that precipice, so she could duck through at any time. Alyssa is wondering, what is the difference between a leopard and a cheetah? Well, we've got a leopard here. Now, their body shape is quite different. Leopards are shorter and more stocky. Cheetahs are taller and a lot more skinny. Sort of, I wouldn't even call a leopard a bulldog, but we had to sort of compare their body builds. Cheetah's like a greyhound. What would you say a leopard is like?
Labrador.
No, too muscular for a Labrador. A male leopard staffy, a female leopard maybe. A Staffy Labrador cross. There you go, from VM. So I mean, Karula's a particularly small female. She probably weighs around 100 pounds at the heavy side, probably a little bit less. But cheetahs, even though they're often a lot taller than leopards, they weigh a lot less, especially the males. And from a visual difference, cheetah have black under their eyes and they have a long tear mark down their face, and that's because they're crepuscular and diurnal hunters. So most of their hunting is done during the day or in the early morning or late evening. So they've got black there to sort of absorb some of the harsh light. Leopards and lions have the white, so they can collect all ambient light. Sorry, 1 second. I affirm she's still heading sort of northeast towards Mamba on the southern side of the drainage. If you can get onto Mamba where it crosses the Shkova, she's going into the Shkova there, she's going to cross through, and I might lose visual. So it's teamwork keeping with the leopard. Andrew's is jumped up ahead of us, and we're not going to be able to cross this little Shkova, which is a donga or a drainage system or a dry creek bed, and Andrew will make sure we don't lose her by going to wait on the other side of it. Negative, she's stationary at the moment, but she's looking straight north at the moment. She's right on the edge of the Shkova. I think if you go forward a little bit, you might get visual of her. Yeah, the glance back. Now, we've got all bases covered with Andrew on that side and us on this side. As we're talking about that, so there's differences, and even if you look at the head shape of a leopard, it's much longer. Cheetah have got a rounder head, built for aerodynamics because they have to run faster for longer. Taller, bigger feet. They've got semi-retractable claws as opposed to fully retractable claws like a leopard. They've got a much longer tail, and it's a flat tail. It acts as a rudder when they're at high speed. And also, cheetah has spots as opposed to rosettes. Even though leopards are called the spotted cats, if we look carefully at her skin, you can see it's sort of a rosette marking of spots in a circular area, whereas cheetah have individual spots. Leopards do have individual spots on their heads and on their bellies, but a cheetah is made up completely of individual spots. What a stunning morning it's been, and the temperature is climbing quickly. I would say, how hot do you think it is already, Vim?
30.
Yeah, I'd say easy 30 degrees Celsius, which is 80, I think, Fahrenheit. Somewhere around there. Maybe even a bit more than 80. Oh, a bit more than 80 degrees. I think today is going to get really warm. Looks like She's trying to decide where to go next, and we're not going anywhere while we wait. Here we go, she's on the move. Andrew, she's heading down into the Shkova. If you go forward towards that big knob thorn in front of you, or between the two knob thorns, she's crossing at the knob thorn on the southern side. So we're just going to stay here. Vim's still got a visual of her in the shade there. Okay, well, we're just going to go a bit closer to make sure we don't lose her when she goes through there, and we can direct Andrew to exactly where she is while we zoot around. Now, sorry guys, just concentrating. Going to get through quite a little bit of a difficult spot here. How are we doing, Ben? Okay, there she is, directly in front of the vehicle. Andrew, you got visual. She's right in front of my mover. There's Impala alarm calling behind us as well. I wonder if there's not another leopard in the area. Look, she's heading straight towards there now. Sorry, I'm just watching it through here. I'm just trying to... And she's going to pop up on Mamba in the Shkova. Okay. We're going to try and get to where she's going, and while we do that, let's go back to Jamie and the elephants.
It seems as though today is a day where we just cannot escape these pachyderms, which I'm definitely not complaining about. Just amazing how we can go for days without seeing them, and I'm pretty sure every single road I've driven down today, I'm trying to think, no, not quite, but almost every single road I've driven down this morning has either had elephants on it or signs that elephants have walked down there recently. Finally, sorry, there was something crawling up the leg of my trousers, but I managed to get it out. Some kind of flying insect that was not appreciated. Luckily, no panic here. It's a pretty standard day-to-day occurrence. But yes, the elephants are almost lulling me into such a peaceful sense. They're absolutely everywhere. They've surrounded us completely. I can hear more of them off on my right as well, even though I can't see them. They're just giving me such a thorough sense of contentment with the morning. Jean-Andre was saying exactly the same thing. Sitting here in the morning sunlight, very peaceful. Let's see if perhaps these two boys might actually be quite entertaining. They might decide to have a little bit of a spar over food. Or, in fact, I think breakfast might prove to be a bigger draw card. Let's go and have a closer look, since most of the rest of the Ellies are in quite dense vegetation. Oh, you big Suki? Or are you just going off elsewhere? Quite a nice view. Lovely young male. Now don't forget, if you have just jumped on board with us this morning and you're wondering what on earth is going on, this is a live safari experience, which means that this is happening right here and right now, believe it or not, in the middle of the African bush. And that does also mean that you can send through your questions. You can do that on #SafariLive on Twitter, or you can email through to questions@wildearth.tv. We do love to hear from you. Let us know if perhaps this is your first time watching and what music you think these elephants are listening to. I'm feeling a very classical vibe coming from this particular herd. Very peaceful. A slow Sunday morning, perhaps one of those radio stations that plays old classics on a Sunday morning. That's what I'm going with. Ha! Got you. Wasn't out of my trousers at all. How on earth that got underneath the pants leg of my trouser? Oh, whoops. I don't know where it went. Probably to go up the other trouser leg. How on earth it got there? Is it comfortable? I know, Jason. I'm starting to... I suppose this is only the beginning. Jason says my affinity with bugs is starting to get slightly frightening. Yes, I certainly seem to have acquired a large amount of them, although I've just managed to lose one somewhere in the bowels of Jigger. My moth friend, by the way, is still here. She's still sitting on the jacket. I'm not going to disturb it now. If it's been on camera once today, I think we can leave it be, but it is still on my jacket. I'm just going to leave it there until it decides where it wants to go. I think, unfortunately, it might be its final resting place. Alright, I'm going to trundle on as the morning continues, but Brent is doing a fantastic job of staying with Karula. Let us head across to him.
Oh, she's just laying down on that termite mound. Oh dear. As you can just see, we can only see her tail at the moment. Now we don't want to move from where we are in case she changes direction, because this is our only real spot where we can cross this little river system if we have to. I love those tails so much. Now you can see how a leopard can just disappear. Sorry guys, someone's just talking to me on the game drive radio trying to find where we are. Sorry about that guys, so there's radio's very busy. We're the only one left with Karula and two other people are trying to get here. Standing by. Oh, she's been spotted. We're just to the north of the road. If you stay to the east of that little drainage system, I think she's just been spotted by some kudu. If you switch off, you should hear them barking. So where that little river system crosses, okay, she's up in mobile now, and she's heading a little bit more east, back towards Mumba Road. Just stand by one, I'll update you. Yeah, we've lost visual of her. Sorry about that. It seems like everyone's waited till the end of drive to come see Karula, while we've been following her through some very difficult areas. Okay, if you head on to Drakensberg, I think will be best access now. She's slowly mobile northeast. on the eastern side of that little river system. Okay, as I said, this is why we waited exactly there when she was on that termite mound. It's about the only place we're going to be able to cross this little river. There she goes. Oh, well, while the trees beat me up, let's go back to Jamie for an update.
Just been attracted by a flash of colour. I'm going to go and have a look at what it may be. I don't quite know where it was. Oh, there we go. Bright orange flower. Yeah, let me do that. That will help Gendre immensely. Oh, the star zinnias are back out, as are the lion's eyes. We've got this beautiful, bright zinnia flower. Wait, hold on. Is it a zinnia or is it a scarlet pimpernel? Can't see the front of it. Let's reposition so we can see it better from front on. Stopping for all the flowers recently. Very unusual. Here we go. Here's a nice pretty flower for you all to take pictures and screenshots of. The first signs of spring, we would usually say. Richard, you were saying we're speaking about summer and winter. Do we not have spring or fall? Not really. South Africa doesn't really have two seasons. In fact, we don't really have winter and summer. We do, but it's more defined as, in this particular spot, wet season and dry season, at least in the Lowveld. If you go to Johannesburg, there's a much more clearly defined spring and fall or autumn seasons, and then summer, and then autumn, fall and winter. The same goes for Cape Town to an extent, but out here in the African bush, we kind of get... Oh, sorry, it was a hornbill. It kind of goes from dry, have our first rains, and summer explodes. I wouldn't really call it spring because the flowers are all out at once and it's hot, 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 and go into the rainy season. So there's not that easy, nice, cool transition. So we do sort of have spring and fall, and technically we're still in spring, I think. 1st of September is spring, and then summer starts in, it's every 3 months the season changes, so September, October, November. So summer will technically start in the 1st of December, but that's absolutely not the case. Summer is here well and truly, although we've had some weird cold weather. Typically, October sits well over 30 degrees during normal years. This year's been an anomaly. Snow still on the Drakensberg Mountains in October. It's not unheard of, but it is quite rare. Temperatures are warming up once again and going back into our normal cycle. Just hoping that the early rains don't mean no more rain. Right, there's roughly 100,000 impala in the Greater Kruger National Park area. This morning, I have officially seen about half of them. It is ridiculous. I have seen so many impala. I don't think I've ever seen this many impala on Djuma. And that's saying something, because we've seen lots of them. Amazing. So a morning themed with elephants and impala and mysterious lions. Unfortunately, it is the end of the sunrise safari, and it's time for us to start heading back home, since the call of Amanda's Eggs Benedict is loud and strong, even from Central Road. So a big thank you to Gendre for his wonderful camera work as always, and a big thank you to all of you for joining us. I hope you had a marvellous sunrise safari, and we'll catch up with you on the sunset safari in just a few hours. Wherever you happen to be in the world, have a wonderful day.
So we're back with the Queen. Well, literally, her back is to us. And it is a gorgeous back. And it's so wonderful to catch up with her again. I haven't seen her in quite a while. Last time we actually tried to follow her hunting at night. And there we go, there she is. Unfortunately, not the best view we've ever had of her, but still great to see her. And our leopard luck has finally changed. As we're coming towards the end of the sunrise safari, who knows, maybe we'll be able to find her again on the sunset safari. But she has taken us on a wild ride, have you? Through some of the more difficult areas of Djuma. Now, look at that, that's wonderful. It looks like she might get moving again. Oh, there she goes. Oh, she's gone flash cat on the termite mound. Looks like she's going to rest here for a little bit. And we'll definitely be back in this area for the sunset safari to see if we have any luck in relocating the Queen of Djuma. Now, Jamie in New Zealand would like to know, why does she sway her tail so much? And you see she's breathing quite heavy as the heat of the day takes over. Well, I'm not sure. I always think it's sort of almost a concentration thing. When they're lying down like she is now, she doesn't move it nearly as much. And also with females, when they have cubs, it's a great toy, a little fluffy toy for the cubs to play with. It's also a following mechanism. So as she moves that tail, and if she does have cubs and they are following her, they are able to see the white. You can see the white, how it sticks out. So it's a very good following mechanism for the cubs to follow her through thick bush. Multiple uses on a leopard's tail. Of course, it also acts for balance. As we enter the last minute of the sunrise safari, it has been absolutely splendid having you with us, and so absolutely wonderful to spend time with the Queen of Djuma. And I look forward to hopefully doing it again on the sunset safari. But for the last couple of seconds of drive, I'm sure you'd much rather look at Karula than me, so let's do that. So I think she might move during the day from here, maybe up towards the Buffelshoek Hook waterhole. She might cut back down towards the Mawati River, but those are mysteries we're going to have to answer on the sunset safari. Hopefully we can find her again. Hopefully she's successful in her hunting, and which means we'll get to spend time with Shongile and Hasana if she brings the cubs back to her kill. But for now, we're going to leave her retiring on the termite mound while we make our way off for breakfast. See you in a few short hours.